We've got a loaded episode of Chicago Bears Now coming up. My name is Harrison Graham. Did Matt Eberflus put Caleb Williams on notice? We'll talk about that. Also, Flus talks about the firing on Shane Waldron, the timeline, how it all came together. Thomas Brown spoke to the media for the first time. A couple of key takeaways from the new Bears offensive coordinator and what he had to say. DJ Moore claims he was shocked that Shane Waldron got fired. And then Caleb Williams gives his thoughts on just all the chaos that's taken place. And I'm not even getting to some of the other stuff. Injury news, Brisker's still out. Couple of linemen, Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, were limited today, so that's good. But we'll kind of dive deeper into that tomorrow because so much to talk about here on today's show. And listen, are you a Bears fan looking for more content? I know the team is struggling right now, but a lot of these national networks, ESPN, Fox Sports, listen, I watch those channels too, and I have my whole life, but they don't have the pulse on specific teams like we do at Chat Sports with our team-specific content like we do here at Bears Now. So if you're looking for a Bears-centric channel that knows the insides and outs of this team, gives opinions and analysis on everything going on, we're your channel. Hit that subscribe button. We got you covered. All right, was Caleb Williams put on notice by Matt Eberflus? A lot of debate online if that happened today. Matt Eberflus was asked straight up if benching Caleb is a possibility at some point if his bad play continues. Flus said this: "We are looking at everything week to week. We always do that. What's best for the football team?" Now, you could say that was just some general talk, and there was probably some of that in there. Flus is a master at that. But also, wasn't exactly something he shut down either. I mean, there's been rumors circulating that players, kind of went to polls and Flus said, hey, like, should we sit Caleb for a week or two, let Tyson play, let him catch his breath? Now, Cole Kmet apparently in the locker room today completely dismissed any idea of that happening, so who knows? But I know this, Flus didn't shut down that question. Like, I got the feeling that if what we've seen the past 3 weeks, which has not been good from Caleb Williams, there could be a possibility that they would play Tyson Bagent for a week or two. Now, I don't think it would be like we're done with Caleb type thing, but I do think there's a chance that could happen. And I think the reason that it could happen is if Matt Eberflus, let's say he struggles badly against the Packers this week, they fall to 4-6. Flus is in preservation mode. He knows his job's on the line. If he has any inkling, if he thinks that playing Tyson Bagent gives him a better chance of winning football games, which is what he feels he needs to do to keep his job, I think that could be on the table. Now, would Ryan Poles step in and say, you're not going to do that, we're going to keep playing this young quarterback? I don't know. But I got the feeling that that could happen if Caleb continued to struggle in some of these games. What do you think? Will Tyson Bagent start a game this year? Non-injury, like for a benching reason. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Give us your thoughts down in the comment section below. All right, Matt Eberflus also talked about the Waldron firing. Sorry, that got cut off there. As he said that because there's a lot of reporting on this as well, because Tom Pelissero had that report, which we talked about this morning, in which Shane Waldron initially was not going to be fired. That Matt Eberflus did not want to do that initially, but ultimately they ended up firing him on Tuesday. So Flus kind of talked about the timeline and basically what were they doing on Monday throughout that entire process. So we'll kind of dive into that here. And was there extra influence? Because that's what we kind of wondered with that Pelissero report. And Flus said the decision was his and his alone, but admitted he received counsel for Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren in their weekly Monday meeting. I still don't know exactly what happened here. I got to think they had influence. I got to think that one of those two or both of them were like, Matt, you got to make a change. You got to make a change. And I think there's reason to believe that because Flus said he did not communicate to Waldron until Tuesday morning that he was making a change. So I think he slept on it. I think he stirred on it. I mean, I think Pelissero's report is accurate that he initially probably wanted to keep him and just change some of the operational things, move him up into the booth was something that was apparently under consideration. Here's my question, though, because for those who don't know, on Monday, a typical Monday, if you have a game that the next Sunday again, which the Bears do this week, by lunchtime, you've completed your film review, grading the film, all that stuff. after lunch, you're on to game prepping for the next game. What was the staff doing on Monday? Like, did they get any tangible work for this Packers game done? I'm not saying they did or didn't. I'm just saying if it's true that Waldron did not know until Tuesday morning, I mean, was he game prepping? And then, like, he wasted 10 hours and Matt Eberflus called and was like, hey, yeah, we're actually going to fire you. I'm not saying they owe Shane Waldron. I'm just saying it seems like the building on Monday was just chaotic and probably not much tangible for the next game was done, which, look, I'm not going to act like it's the end of the world for the short term. Maybe it's more of just a overarching issue of, like, this clearly isn't going to work when it's all said and done. But just bizarre. Classic Bears in terms of just operation and getting things done or not getting things done. All right, more to discuss, a lot more to dive into here on Chicago Bears now, but shout out to Prize Picks. I love Prize Picks. You'll love Prize Picks. Available in more than 30 states. You can play daily fantasy sports with Prize Picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with as few as 4 correct entries today. Sign up right now, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you sign up and play for $5 initially. Just got to fire a $5 entry off. If you hit, doesn't matter if it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in that entry. If you hit, you make money. If you miss, you're still going to get that $50 bonus. I got a $5 to win 15 here. Jaden Daniels, less on his passing yards. A.J. Brown, more on his receiving yards. Take advantage. You can do other sports. It's awesome. Easy to get started. $5 to play. You'll get a $50 bonus whether you win or lose on your first $5 entry. Get started right now. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get that $50 bonus today. All right, let's talk about the new offensive coordinator. We heard from Thomas Brown today for the first time, and I'll give the Bears credit. This coordinators usually talk on Thursday. Like it was clear, like just get him in front of the microphone and let's hear from him. So kudos that they went ahead and did that today. And I just have a few takeaways here. Number one, he speaks with clearness for one, and just with supreme confidence. This is not a guy that's hesitant, that stutters, that anything like that. He is well spoken, which, listen, I think we overanalyze these pressers anyway. But I will say this, listening to Matt Eberflus for the last 2.5 years, listening to Shane Waldron for the last few months, their pressers are pretty hard to listen to. Thomas Brown was very engaging and very direct. He even said, like, I'm a direct guy. I told Caleb that in our conversation. So I appreciate that. I think it's clear he'll bring more energy to the table. He said that. The way he spoke said that for him. Other guys have said that. So I think that's pretty clear. He'll be more demanding. I think one thing that points to that, Keenan Allen was blunt today in the locker room, like, hey, why didn't you think it worked out with Shane Waldron? He said, he's too nice of a guy. He let things slip, and that builds bad habits. So hopefully this guy is going to have his eye on the ball and not let those things creep in. And then the last one, maybe the most tangible thing he said, was that he's going to call plays from the booth. So he'll be up high. And, you know, I think there's pros and cons to both. Obviously, the in-person, face-to-face communication, you have that advantage being on the sideline. But when you're in the booth, you have that kind of overhead angle. You can kind of get a feel for what coverages look like, what the other team is doing better. You can see everything. So I kind of like that, that he's going to be doing that. So, you know, and that's new too, not just a new play caller, but a new vantage point. So we'll see if that turns into anything. And look, I do want to make it clear because I don't want to be the guy, this guy, he's a leader. He speaks like that. Yeah, like I think he'll command the room better. I think he'll bring more energy. Do I think he'll be a better play caller? I have no idea. I mean, there's not much history in Thomas Brown's coaching career that would suggest that. You know, I'm not going to hold his Carolina reps against him too much. That was a pretty bad situation. This is a whole different one. Even though it's chaotic, there is more talent here. So we'll see. I'm open-minded, but I have no expectations. I think that's how we should all be at this point when it comes to really anything with the Chicago Bears. All right. Are you excited for Thomas Brown? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I'm excited. It's something new. So we'll see. We'll see. Give us your thoughts. Y for yes and for no. All right, a couple more here. DJ Moore says he was shocked that Shane Waldron got fired. He even went as far as saying that he admitted, yeah, some players expressed frustrations with the offense. We all talked. But there was no goal or hope or expectation of going after someone's livelihood. Like, in other words, having someone go from being employed to being unemployed. And look, he seemed genuine when he said that. He seemed like, yeah, I did not necessarily think that was coming. Now, deep down, if you just take your being inside the locker room every day sunglasses off, like, guys, like, if it's this ugly, rookie quarterback, the whole point of this thing is to get him going. It shouldn't be that shocking, but when you're in the thick of it all, I certainly understand these guys being like, yeah, you don't expect the coach to be fired in the middle of the season. DJ also was asked about Caleb. There's obviously been a lot of chatter there. Are they getting along? Why aren't they on the same page? Yada, yada, yada. Here's what he had to say in terms of supporting his quarterback. He said he's going out there busting his butt, trying to learn everything at once, and defenses are throwing a lot at him. So you can't really be mad at him. You got to still have his back, or you just got to still back him. Whatever he's doing, he's going to get better at, and we are with him. So I feel like DJ's trying to pour some cold water on this fire, this smoke, this idea that – and I don't think people are wrong when they identify that it seems like DJ hasn't been happy with Caleb and playing with him recently. I think we could all see that. Now, we could debate how true that is, how bad it is between the two. I don't think the guys hate each other or anything like that, but obviously there's frustration. They haven't been on the same page. So I think DJ's trying to like calm the waters a little bit, like, hey, let's focus on the now and let's move forward. Now, if they're not on the same page 2 or 3 times Sunday and DJ has a low productive day, I'm sure he's going to be frustrated. So at this point, it's all about what they do on the field. We'll see if that changes. And then we heard from the quarterback. He had an interesting answer that I think just points out to really just the failures of the organization when it comes to the firing of Shane Waldron. So let's hear what he had to say, and then we can dive into it further. He said it's tough because when you work however many months it's been, you try to build that relationship, and now that guy you've been trying to get on the same page with isn't here anymore. So now you have to adjust and adjust fast. We're in divisional play now and have a big game against the Packers, and this has kind of been my entire point. This is why I thought it was way too risky to bring back Matt Eberflus and hire an offensive coordinator to try and pair with Caleb Williams. Because, A, it's harder to just find a high-level offensive coordinator compared to an offensive guy to be your head coach and call plays. Why is that? Well, there aren't always a lot of guys who have high-level play calling experience on the open market that you can hire to be an OC. You can hire those guys to be your head coach because that's an upward move, but you can't go poach another offensive coordinator. Like, that's not how it works. So Waldron was a rare case that he became available because Pete Carroll and Seattle moved on. They weren't going to bring back Waldron, so he was a rare, experienced play caller who had some success. Now, we probably overvalue that experience, success, etc., but that is why I would have reset with an offensive-minded coach who has high-level, proven play-calling experience. Pair him with Caleb Williams. Even if there's struggles year one, you can build with this moving forward. But what happens is you have a lame duck head coach who's trying to keep his job. It's like, well, I have to fire the OC now. So now you're, in some ways, starting over with your rookie quarterback, which is the cycle you've done over and over and over again. So that's been my point. It wasn't that it would have been fair necessarily to fire Eberflus after 2 years, although if you're in this business for fairness as a coach, good luck. It was more so, hey, you've got this opportunity where you're drafting this quarterback. You're very unsure at best about this head coach. Why not just reset? That was the obvious thing to do. They didn't do it, and now here are the results of that. You're firing the OC midseason. Your quarterback's going backwards. You're just kind of throwing a prayer, hoping Thomas Brown can fix this thing, and that's asking a lot. So we'll see what happens this Sunday. And I'm just curious, want to gauge where Bears fans are at right now. What % chance is there that Eberflus is back next year? 0 to 100? I mean, what, 7%? It's got to be low. I mean, I'd love to ask Ryan Poles, like, what specifically would have to happen for him to get a 4th season? I think the only chance is Thomas Brown takes this thing with Caleb and runs with it. And they not only do they perform well, they win a bunch of games. And it's like, well, you almost feel like you have no choice in terms of that. I guess I would argue if that happened, just make fucking Thomas Brown the head coach. I listened to him talk today. He inspired me more in 10 minutes than Eberflus has in 3 years. So, yeah, I think that's Flus's only shot. Brown and Caleb just take off. And what are the chances of that over the final 2 months against tough competition? Not great. Not great chance. All right. Busy show. Lots to get to. Didn't even hit everything, but hit as much as we could. I'll verbally mention this. Ricky Stromberg, former Arkansas center, who I liked a couple years ago, got drafted in Washington, had some injuries, didn't work out. Bears signed him to the practice squad, so I'm kind of intrigued by that. Jake Curran went to the active roster once they cut Nate Davis, so some roster maneuvering. I'm not saying Stromberg is the long-term answer at center, but I liked him coming out, so I don't hate that. He took a top 30 visit to Hallis Hall, so we'll see if that turns to anything. But as more news and notes come out, we'll continue to crank out videos, including our live show tomorrow, 4 o'clock Central. I'm Harrison Graham. Be sure to subscribe to Chicago Bears Now.